Careful what you say or you'll get tickled.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Kenny and Kenny. I was like, Kenny, welcome. And I'm like, that's Kenny Middle.
We're gonna welcome Kenny to the show tonight.
Yeah. Yes. Already, right off the bat. John, Bob, hey guys, thanks for watching. So tonight's open mic night.
We got to do it because, I can't comment. I can't comment anything. So I always open at least one screen.
I do too. I do the same thing. Yep. Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, JD, Tiffany. So I actually looked for a ghost ship and a cannon for my terrible mistake today when I post. What are you going to do? That's what you get. I didn't proofread. I thought it was good. Oh well. So tonight I just figured we'll have a good open mic night. I think we're going to keep trying this once a month to see how it goes. Invite people on. You guys are more than welcome to come on. We'll do what we can to get you on. I think the standard rules apply if you come on. Just be kind in what you say. I don't have any of Kenny's rules in front of me, but if you're on,
I can rattle them off if you want.
Rattle them off for me, Kenny.
Right. You can ask any questions that you want tonight because we're open mic night. You can ask whatever you want and we'll try to answer it. Rule number 2 is we don't know everything, but we try. We try to learn. If we don't know it and we have time and you guys want to, we can actually look them up and discuss it and we can all learn. And rule number 3 is this Patrick Swayze rule. Be nice. You can debate and discuss in the chat room, but please don't be a dick. If you go too far and start name calling or start annoying everyone in the chat room, then you get booted. Boom.
You will be vicared.
And if you have a question, please put a Q in front of it. That makes it easier for us to figure out where they are. And then rule number 5 is my favorite rule. Drink up.
Drink up.
There you go. Woo.
I'm well ahead of the game on that one. I've already had several cups, so.
Oh, he's going to be slurring by the commercial break.
I will be.
Bob.
I will be.
Oh, yes, Bob. You are a dick, Tracy.
So I guess to start off, just a basic conversation. I had the canon comment that I messed up on was just it kind of spurred a little bit of thought on that was, hey, I mean, for you guys to think about, is there anything that is paranormal canon? Like, is there something in
Ghost
the paranormal
cannons, battlefields?
Is there anything in the paranormal that is beyond reproach, as it was? Maybe I should say the paranormal hobby. Is there something that's so loved in the hobby and held close to the heart that to question it would be almost sinful?
You know who you're talking to, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
The answer there would be fuck no.
I know, but I was thinking if we could come up with some, like my whole thought was, ghosts aren't real until proven, and yeah, I think that would probably be pretty bad. I mean, that's
Sacrilege.
I could go there. I think I am there. I'm open for it.
I'm there.
Totally there. But you got to bring some. You got to bring some heat.
You got to. I mean, pretty much everything that we talk about when we talk about gadgets, like EMF meters and all these other 3D printed pieces of shit that these entrepreneurs online sell at a ridiculous price. You know, when you start, Zach is what's up, Dr. Jim? But yeah, like you get these kind of things, and it's like you question it, and not everybody, because I have seen a lot of people start shifting. Like, okay, yeah, this is useless. Once you start talking to them and ask them about certain data, and you know, when you go all Dave on them and say, "Where's the data?" You know, that usually stops it. So, but for some people, like the Kinect, people are still using the Kinect, and they swear by it. I just posted something about a gadget. It was an EM pump, and they were making outrageous claims about it has quartz in it and some other crystal thing. And
yeah, it's warm up here. I'm actually getting red already. Go ahead.
But like it was making just really bullshit claims. And when you clicked on the link and went to his video, the guy was demonstrating or showing why it works and the evidence showing it works. And the evidence was orbs, dust orbs in front of a video, and the Kinect showing a stick figure on a fucking chair. So, oh my God, it fucking pisses me off. Look at that. 2 F-bombs right at the start of the show.
Right off the bat.
Wow.
I was going to say my number two on the list was actually gadgets. It's what can I say? Like, it's just strange to me how the gadgets just kind of keep rolling on,
right?
And people buy up without any question.
And it's weird. Like some of them, there's no imagination. There's no originality. It's almost like Hollywood. It's just like EM pump. I see an advertisement for one that has 2 EM pumps in one box. Okay. Like, really? That's your niche? That's what you're gonna go with? Okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. I saw we had a question.
Yeah. So I think this is actually a good question because I've thought of this. Do you guys think that the craze of ghost hunting shows is coming to an end? They're kind of old hat.
Well, I would hope so, but it seems like there's still quite a few on. I don't know if you look at Google. Actually, I did this because I saw the question come up there. I went to Google Trends, just typed in ghost hunting, and the actual interest over time, it shows that it's been declining at least since I don't know what, about January 2010-11. So at least the search history on Google Trends would say that at least that term is going down. But as far as the TV shows, yeah, I don't know if there's, I haven't looked. Somebody used to maintain a list, and I can't remember who that was. Somebody had a list of all the different ghost hunting shows that were on TV. Some of them have gone off the air. Some of them have come back on the air. But I'm telling you, you go to A&E or Discovery or Travel Channel, and there's still a lot of them. Numerically, I don't know. I would hope people were getting tired of them, but I don't think so, because there's always a new crop of kids or people that are younger that are coming up that want to get involved in the field, and they watch the TV shows. They obviously still have ghost hunters on and some of the other ones because they're drawing ratings. So, I mean, it might be dropping off a little bit, but I'm not sure it's going away anytime soon. That's my take.
Yeah, I agree. I think, because I thought this years ago. I thought, like, oh, it's declining. You know, there's not any more new shows coming out, and the old ones are getting old, and the ratings are dropping. Maybe they'll just stop, and then all of a sudden you get a whole bunch more. And I see a lot of like one-off shows where like a network will throw it out there and say, oh, look, we got a new team. And one of the standard cookie cutter interview segments are one of the ghost hunters on the team going, yeah, we're going to do some things a little bit different than other shows. And then they do the same shit as other shows. So it doesn't do anything different. They continue to put it up there. I think I think like Discovery Channel, they always have shit. Travel Channel has one because they go to other places and you get to travel around and see these other, haunted locations all around the world. And I think that's why some people still watch them. But I mean, it's the same shit. It's really the same stuff, different faces, but the same thing. And man, I wish they would go away. I really do, because they're silly. They're just silly.
I think probably it feels like they are. I'm like Dave. Like I don't know the numbers, but yeah, I early on when Taps first came out, I remember how I guess the craze was this actual ghost hunting show on, and it seemed like it was legit. I don't know how else to put it. Even people I knew that we were just we were doing it. We were like, we have to watch this show. We have to go meet these people.
Right.
I think that it probably feels like it's going away for me because it was so new and it was so unique, and there was so much buzz around the beginning of it that it was just always constantly talked about. And even what they did on the show was discussed and debated even amongst ourselves. But then after a while, so many other places jumped on it. I think it's saturated, and it's just so saturated that it's not novel anymore. So you just don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. But I'm probably like you guys. If I see a new ghost hunting show on, I just really don't care, because I know it's going to be exactly like you described. They're going to do something different, but they don't do anything different.
Yeah.
Maybe the only thing different they do is they reorder the scenes that that they typically do. Maybe they start with the reveal and then they show how they got there. I don't know. It's all really
I would hate that. That would piss me off. That's like spoiler alert. You told me what happened. All right, I don't need to watch the 55 minutes of the rest of the show. I'm good. I know what happened.
But even
several. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say even anything new, it's the same formula. It's really just the same thing, and it's not just ghosts. It doesn't matter if they're looking for Bigfoot or UFOs or other things. It's the same formula that they just keep bringing out, and I just don't see anything different.
Right.
But it must work. They must be getting ratings because they're still on.
Well, I think because we have seen some come and go.
Right.
There was one that I wrote about, Ghost Loop, that was only one season that was out, and even the reboot, the first reboot, not the second reboot, but the first reboot of Ghost Hunters, that was what, a season and a half, 2 seasons, and that's done. And I think that has to do with just the cast. The cast was just boring and hard. Like I watched a few episodes, in particular one, because I wrote about a certain thing that was used, but other than that, it was just boring. They weren't entertaining. They weren't exciting. Just boring.
But you can buy a certain book that I think the three of us have recently purchased for a upcoming book review, and you just rehash your case files from the TV shows in your book.
Really?
I think when you say boring, I mean legit. We've all done it. We've all been ghost hunters.
Right.
You sit for hours and you beg for a noise, and then when you get it, you don't go see what it is. Like that's what you do. You're like, hell yeah, I got a noise. That's it. That's proof positive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how many times, and like we talk about it all the time about us going, and like we would do a show where we like legit picked a place and did data collection. Well, do you know how many, like it would drop the first episode because it would be so
boring.
It'd be so boring. It was just it couldn't keep up.
But even like, Tim, you came out here and we went to the White Hill Mansion.
Yeah.
And we stayed overnight, and we had Rob Palmer, who's a well-known skeptic. And then Chuck Sanders came out with us, and there were 4 of us. Chuck left after a couple hours, and I think Rob Palmer left too. But you and I stayed the night. But if anybody was watching us, if we were live streaming, it would have been boring as fuck.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun meeting Chuck and Rob.
Yeah.
That was the best part. It was like just getting to meet new people and hear new ideas. But yeah, you slept in a bathtub, and I slept on a floor. Now, to be fair, like I gotta say, for White Hill, the people that were there were fantastic. They were so nice,
Yes.
and it was absolute joy to go through and see the actual history, which was far more exciting and educational than going and looking for ghosts. I think it was like a 1700s house, and the history going through the Prohibition and the underground tunnels to the river to get the bootleg liquor up. It was cool, and the architecture was great. And watching the architecture change over the years, I enjoyed that. Like I really enjoyed that. The woodworking and the details inside the house was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as a ghost, I didn't. I slept on a floor. I even remember just saying, I'm like, hey, I'm sleeping on a floor. I'm vulnerable. If you want to attack me, just do it. Wake me up and we'll talk about it. But Kenny's in the bathtub.
The bathtub had a story about somebody was either murdered or committed suicide in it, which is, as far as I know, completely false. Right. It was a story made up by some ghost hunters. But I was like, all right, let me see. This is the worst place. People say that, this stuff happens, and a couple psychics have said, this is where somebody died, and I'll sleep there. And I'll never do that again because that was cold. An old porcelain claw tub. So cold.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we waited and we tried. We sat there and come on, something's here. Come get us. Say something, do something.
Yeah, the TV shows.
All right.
Now, who would have paid good money to see Kenny sleep in a bathtub, though? Come on.
I have
nobody.
We could Twitch. We could Twitch that. Put it on Twitch. Be like, hey.
I remember. When we were out in Pennsylvania? Jen worked on. She was producing for a couple episodes of the Dead Files. They showed up in Gettysburg. And they paid all this money for everybody to show up, and then the psychic, whatever, Amy, I think is her name, she supposedly got dumped by somebody she was dating on the production crew, and the whole thing got canceled. They sent everybody home. I don't know how much money it was, but one, she's a psychic. She didn't see that coming, so wah, wah, wah. Well, too bad, but
what?
The Amy Allen, yeah, that was her name. But yeah, these shows are there to pretty much entertain, and yeah, they're still on. But the real deal to actually go and do what you have to do to investigate or research what's going on at a location, it's pretty freaking boring.
Yeah,
it's really boring.
All right,
but that's where you get the real information.
Yeah. So we have let me put this up real quick.
Sure.
I'll throw this out. So before we get too far, but I don't want Tom to think we forgot or missed it. Is it possible to sell ghost hunting gadgets ethically?
I think you can, as long as you're honest about it. That's the trick, being honest. Ethically would mean you're not lying or deceiving purposely. And I think some of them do purposely do it. I think others make bold claims without bothering to test. They're not actively trying to deceive you, but they're not checking. They're not fact checking what they're saying.
Right.
And that's still a problem. Because if any make the claim that this can communicate or detect or capture a ghost, that's a false claim because they have nothing to back that up. It's unless they do, which I haven't seen. I haven't seen that yet. If you if you have some evidence, that'd be great that this actually captured a ghost. Like, let's see it. Let's analyze it. But as far as I see, most of these, I don't even want to say companies, because they're not. They're usually like one or two people in their basement or garage making these things. They're selling the stuff. They're making outrageous claims, but nothing to back it up. So I don't think that's ethical or professional or whatever. I think they're taking people's money, especially when you know how much they cost to make.
Some of them are stupid.
Like, I understand if it only costs you like $3 in parts, and you spend an hour putting it together, I can see you charging like $25-$30 for it. You know, I think that would be fair. But when you charge $200-$300 for something, I think that's price gouging and unethical. But
I think this is where where they slip in for entertainment purposes only for their legal team.
If they have one, because the only one that I ever saw do that was
Obvious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the only one that put it on the device itself. All the others, I don't see any disclaimers.
You give me an idea.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I think the way to do it ethically is, one, not claim it's a ghost hunting gadget. It's not a ghost detection device. I mean, look at any website, any company that sells any equipment for in monitoring the environment, be it radiation, electromagnetic fields, infrasound, whatever. You can find a whole lot of equipment that can be used to monitor the environment that never claims to be a ghost gadget or a ghost detector. So yeah, those companies are doing it legitimately. I think it's up to the investigator themselves to seek this stuff out and basically vet it and get stuff because you want to address a specific issue or a concern, or you're trying to conduct research to see if there's a correlation between people's experiences and a certain environmental anomaly or change in the environment. But boy, I think the best way you could do it is get away from saying this is a ghost hunting gadget or a ghost detector.
Right. Just say what it is. You know, what does it do?
Yeah.
And be honest about it. And that's it. I mean, you can still market it to ghost hunters, but just say, hey, this is like a static field meter or a static detector. It detects static electricity. That's it. That's all we know, you know, and if you want to use it, you should use it in this way, you know, log all your results and data loggers, which, I mean, that should be standard equipment. I think data loggers would be just beautiful. But that's it.
And list the frickin' specs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love when it's just a picture and it detects EMF. What the hell are the specs? Is it single axis, multi-axis? What's the sensitivity? What's the precision? What's the accuracy? Those are things you really should be listing. And if you don't list them and somebody asks and you don't respond to it, that's kind of a red flag for me.
Yeah. Shady.
Or if you ask and get blocked for asking.
It's a Tim thing.
Been there. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, if you, when you buy any kind of like electrical or when you buy some kind of gadget, some kind of device like that online from a legit manufacturer, and you're buying it on a consumer site or in a store or something, on the box, in the instructions online, the specs are all laid out. It tells you what it can do, what range, all of that. You don't find that with most ghost hunting tools. It's just like, here you go, this is it. And I've also found that some of these people, they black out everything. So if you open it up, they've spray painted inside. They've covered everything, so you can't see. You can't steal their design. I mean, there's still ways to figure it out, but
Yeah.
it's silly. It's silly.
Ah. Well,
All right. Well, I think we beat the equipment up.
Yeah.
we did.
but we'll take any chance we can to beat the crap out of some equipment. Absolutely.
Yes.
I like this question. Where are we on the Mystery Science Theater version of the ghost hunting shows? It's definitely, I can say it's definitely something that we talk about.
We've talked about it. Love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to find the time to do it.
I mean, we've kind of done it privately.
Yeah,
Probably.
That's the problem. To do it in this forum, you got to be real careful. You can't just broadcast a show through here, even if we're commenting on it. There's fair use and all kinds of laws, copyright regulations, all that type of stuff. And it'd be a little hard unless we could get permission from the actual shows to do it, which most of them probably not going to allow it if you tell them we're basically going to get you on here, play your show, and then we're going to make fun of it like Mystery Science Theater.
We're going to rip it apart.
I'm pretty sure the response will be no. But I mean, I think it would be a lot of fun. I think we could probably do something like that privately, just not broadcast it and put it out. But yeah, I'd love to do something like that. I love Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, and I think we can. I mean, we've done a private watch viewing party of Ghost Watch.
Yep,
and I think
which was fantastic. By
that
the
was
way.
Oh man, I still love it. I bought a shirt because I was so into it. But I think we could probably set up again something like that and pick a show, like an episode of a show or a mockumentary, if you will, and we could do a private showing where it's just us and we do the Zoom thing again and send out the private link to people. I mean, I would be up for that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
We just have to mute everyone except for the three of us.
We need to maybe we should take some recommendations on what show to use.
Requests. Yeah.
So I like this one. You ready?
Yes.
From Sandy. Have any of you guys actually investigated a place that actually made you wonder if there really are haunted places?
Yeah. Well, that's short answer, yes. I've been to a couple places where I'm going to phrase this carefully. I can't explain by natural means what was going on there. And there was environmental anomalies and things that happened and experiences people had. Now, do I believe it's 100% due to a ghost or paranormal activity? I can't say that because I don't know. They're few and far between, I'll tell you that. Most of places are explainable, but yeah, I've been to a couple places where I would admit there's something interesting going on there that, based on what people say is paranormal activity, if you're just going to say it's the phenomena that's happening and what you're experiencing is similar to what others have reported in haunted locations, that's how a lot of times we used to phrase some of our reports. It's like, based on what people have reported at other haunted locations, this is similar to what they have reported. And yeah, I think there's maybe 3 places that I've been to that I can say it's some really interesting, cool stuff going on there. And I'd love to go back and do more research on it. Now, does it mean it's a ghost? No. Again, it could just be some sort of weird environmental anomaly that we haven't uncovered or we haven't figured out what's causing it. But yeah, there's a couple places I'd say that they would fit the criteria of what people call a haunted location, but is it due to a ghost or paranormal activity? I don't know. We don't know that. Yeah,
I agree with Dave. One place in particular, maybe 2, and it's many years of doing. Well, if you cut off all the ghost hunting bullshit I used to do before I started thinking about shit, but still, that's a long time in lots of different places, including going to pay for play places that are supposed to be outrageously demonically haunted, and you sign the waivers that you're probably going to lose an arm to a demon, but you're going to go anyway. those type of places that don't yield anything. But yeah, I'll say definitely one place for sure. But like Dave said, like I can't say it's a ghost, but it's certainly an interesting place. It's certainly a place that I would love to purchase if I would ever win the lottery. It's just not to run ghost tours, but to just literally just set up as much data collecting equipment and just let it run for as long as I could possibly let it run for nothing else. We could make it into a laboratory. So should we?
Laboratory?
A laboratory.
Is it a laboratory where you conduct experiments, or a laboratory?
We'll make it into a laboratory.
Laboratory?
That's an inside joke for another show we watched that a certain host kept saying lavatory.
A laboratory.
So they were doing experiments in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So if you want to leave a residual haunting, that might be a good place to do it.
I smell sulfur.
There's obviously a demon in here.
I've already played the drum roll once. I can't do it again. So that would definitely would have earned it.
Effects, Tim.
I do. Yeah. So for me, Sandy, yeah, sure. At one place for sure. Another place, was moderately interesting. And I also find it very interesting that my thoughts are like with Dave, and I'm sure probably Kenny, like after so long, they're really rare. They're really far between. It's, you don't go, for me, I didn't get to go to a place every week and find something that was incredible. It was very rare.
You ever consider you're not doing it right?
I did. That's what changed my whole course. I was like, what how come we keep going and getting blurry pictures of orbs and shit we can't really understand on the recorder? And so, it's a whole other point, but yeah, that was one of the turning points of my thinking was, I legitimately thought, we keep getting the same shit everywhere we go all the time. It's always like you could lump it into 4 different categories. And so I began thinking, I'm not doing something right. I'm just not doing something right. So I rethought it.
So for me, it depends on when in my life I'd answer that question. So like 20 years ago, I would have said yes, absolutely. There were places that made me wonder if it was haunted and that I would swear it was haunted. Now I won't outright reject it, even though sometimes I goof around and say exactly that. But honestly, I would say it's more along the lines of what Dave was saying. Like I wouldn't say something is haunted if I can't explain it, because if an experience happened and I can't explain it, that usually means there's just not enough information. So I don't have enough information to make a good conclusion. So there's either missing information in the environment when I go back to try to figure out what's going on. There's missing information in my knowledge base where I just don't have it in my personal, my head library. I don't and there's just pieces that are missing. Maybe it's a one-time thing. Maybe it's a car that shined its headlights because it, as on some road a mile away, they accidentally went off the road a little bit, trying to avoid a deer, and light shined in the window. Boom, it created a reflection. I see it. Never happens again. Who knows? I don't know. So I guess recently in the last decade, I don't wonder if it's haunted. Motherfucker.
Caught you.
Does that mean we have to drink 3 times?
Yep.
I'll take it. I'll shotgun the rest.
And Tim's on the floor.
I wonder about what is going on. I don't wonder, is this place really haunted? That really doesn't cross my mind. It's what's really happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I kind of leave it at that.
At least in the literature, they'll say things like haunt type phenomena. They're not saying it's due to a ghost. They just basically labeled it as people that go to places that, they say it's haunted. It's haunt type phenomena. You're experiencing certain things that have happened and been reported in other places that seem to fit this haunt type phenomena. But you can say that without making a claim that it's due to a ghost. And it's just it could be a bunch of environmental things. It could be your mental state. It could be the context, the contextual cues of the environment that's allowing you to experience haunt type phenomena. It doesn't mean it's paranormal or supernatural related. It just it is what it is. It's a label.
Yeah, I think it's completely possible that you can have a legitimate experience that you believe and not have it be due to something that is otherworldly or paranormal.
Yep.
All right. So JD, sorry, I'm just getting to you. What do each of you think is the ballsiest example of a paranormal hoax or lie that someone has perpetrated? Something that made you go, wow.
Dybbuk box.
I'm going to say Kenny's going to surely take the win on this one. He's done so many.
I would go with the Amityville horror.
That's good.
Because that still freaking goes on.
I got to go with what we that Ghost Watch. I think it started out as a small television prank, but just really got out of hand. Like legit got out of hand for the whole whole part. That was, I mean, was it good? Apparently. Was it a good thing to do? Probably not, but it ended up being what it was, and convinced enough people to call in and get it removed from shelves and not shown again for a long time.
Until we came along.
Yep.
We showed it to a select few people. I think that's actually a good example of a hoax that was not meant. That's almost on the Orson Welles level of hoax, because I mean, when you had War of the Worlds, they told you that it was a show. They told you it was written, it was fiction during the broadcast, but people ignored that part. And in this, like, there were things that were failed, and we talked about it. Like the call-in line failed.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to tell everyone this is just a show.
Yeah.
You know, but in the background, you have everyone, the whole production crew was in on it. Everybody knew it wasn't a secret. It everybody knew, from cameramen, and you had footage that was filmed weeks prior. So that crew was there. The crew that was airing it live, you know, was doing. Everybody knew, yet so many things failed that it was presented as real, and that's where you had a problem. When it comes to Amityville, you had 3 main characters in this: the George and Kathy Lutz, and the lawyer, who came together and pretty much made this story. And there might have been a few others that were involved, but you had a smaller grouping of people that were involved in the story, and it's easier to contain. And then with the Dybbuk box, you had one jackass. I shouldn't say jackass. He was nice enough to actually come on the show and admit that he made it all up. So I take that back. One guy that made up a story, let it go. Then you had another guy that made up even more of the story and profited off of it by writing a book and selling movie rights. And then you got another guy who is a jackass that showcases it in his museum, even though he's fully aware of the history with it. He still presents it, and people pay $50 a head to go see it. So,
yeah,
if you slip me $1, I'll show you mine.
I think the way that you word that, I think the way that you presented that one, how there were 3 people that actually colluded in the background to, I don't know if they were, was it for a defense, or was the whole idea to make money?
So I think the lawyer's point of view and perspective was for defense, because
Okay.
he was the defense lawyer for Ronnie DeFeo Jr. So it was beneficial to him and his client if there was a story that could say my client was possessed by a demon and forced to do all these killings. For for George and Kathy Lutz, it was probably because financial, not really financial gain. It was more for a financial excuse, because I think they took on more than they could afford with the house, and
Yeah.
he had a failing business, and they realized, oh shit, we can't do this, and they needed a way to get out of it. And I mean, they did make some money off of. They made, I think, between like $300,000 and $500,000 in the end. They made off of it, which is nothing compared to what the studio and all that made from it. But still, and this is one of the things in particular. And I know I'm going on, but when it comes to conspiracy theories and hoaxes, the amount of people involved has to be taken into account, because if you have this big, like the moon landing, which is, some people claim is a big hoax. There's so many people that have to be involved in that, with production crews and all that. There's so many people, and the amount of people involved, I don't know how to say it. The more people involved, the harder it is to keep a lid on it.
There's actually a formula for that.
Really?
Yeah. There's somebody came up with an actual formula. I guess it's a probability formula. But yeah, the more people, the bigger probability that someone's going to tell someone.
Yeah.
So I see John. So before I get John in there, we do this so I can get a little caught up. So if I got rich and bought that house, could you do a hunt there? Absolutely. If I got rich and bought that house, you guys are welcome. You guys would be welcome. It's a 7-bedroom, 1800s Victorian, beautiful house. So you could just stay there, but you would sign a really good waiver just in case. Just in case.
Anything that happens, your fault.
That's right.
Sign here.
Be a big waiver. So let me get John. You ready, John?
I have Zach Baggins' waiver I can give you. That covers everything.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Dude, I'm so glad you came on. When I wrote today that I hope people come on, or that people are invited to come on, you were the person in my mind. I was hoping to get to see you. Yep.
Yeah, glad to be here. You guys said something about an open mic night last week, and we were talking about the aliens and stuff. I was like, I want to get more into this, because that's one of my passions is, astrobiology and aliens. And
So I agree. Yeah. So do you have a specific question, or you want to just kind of pick up?
He just wants to hang out with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to.
Actually, yeah, I do have a topic. So we know there's the possibility of life out there, even though we haven't proven it yet. It's pretty sure. But how do we not, or why do we not have contact with these? And the question is, you guys think maybe it's the Fermi paradox, which puts the filter in at certain places on the evolutionary scale? Or do you maybe think that they reach a certain point and then kill themselves, so we have mass extinction? Or are we looking for the wrong kinds of life? Because we have extremophiles here on Earth that live in places that's uninhabitable to anybody else. So I'm just curious to your guys' thoughts on that.
What is the tardigrade? Is that what it is? The little bear-looking thing with six legs?
Yep.
The water bears, or whatever they call them.
Tardigrades, like can live in outer space and like come back fatter. Yeah.
Sounds like me during COVID.
Yeah. So that question made me think of something really interesting that I watched a while ago with Neil deGrasse Tyson had responded to a question similarly. He got into this, and I'm going to terribly misquote it, so I apologize if I do, but take it with a grain of salt. This is coming from memory. There was a certain percentage of, I don't know if he used brain capacity or if he was talking about intellect, if you could actually measure that, or evolution, but we were just like 1 or 2 percentages apart from our next closest relative. God, I don't want to say monkey, but for some reason I don't think that's correct. Chimpanzee, I think.
No, it's
I'm going to get it wrong. I knew I was going to get it wrong.
crap. My mind just went.
Yeah, so we'll just it's somewhere there. So
Bonobos.
just being, what's that?
It's bonobos. That's the one we're closest related to.
Okay, so we're just like 1 or 2% more capacity, and I'm again, this is general. So you could imagine 1 or 2% greater capacity than what they have to rationalize or think, and you could see this huge difference in what we can do and what they are capable of doing. So at what point does something so further evolved than us come along that we don't even notice it because we can't comprehend it? And that's to be clear, like there's life that's further evolved than us, and then there's life that's simpler than us. And so relative to us, if we're going to be the 0 on the line scale and there's a positive and a negative, to go positive from, that would be something, if something was just so different, would we even notice it if they were here? And then if there was something so small like bacteria or single cell organisms, would we even notice? So I don't know. I mean, that's a hard question. Like, could they be here? Sure. I mean, I don't know. I wish they would say something or do something, but maybe they are. I don't know. But I like that.
I think it could probably be a combination of all the things you mentioned, John. I mean, there could be distance. It could be where they're at in evolution. It could be their ability technologically to communicate. They could have gone extinct already. I mean, the Earth is really not that old considering the age of the universe, or even just the solar system in our galaxy. So, I mean, there could have been a lot of things that happened where they were there, they got advanced, and now they're gone. One of the books we talked about last week, I think it was the one about the zoologist's view on life and what it would look like. They talk about it. It would have to follow the same evolutionary patterns or environmental restrictions that we do. But you're talking about physical laws of the universe, but if you're on a planet that has a whole different, I mean, he talks about how, if there was creatures that lived in a gaseous planet or in the atmosphere, the symmetry might be different. It might not be recognizable. It might not be carbon based. It could be something else. So, I think there's a whole lot of different possibilities as to why we haven't made contact. I agree, though. I find it hard to believe that there's no other life in the universe. That's absolutely, to me, it's just a number on a numbers game. It's got to happen. But why we haven't made contact, who knows? They might be trying to communicate in a totally different way that we're not even knowledgeable about right now. One of the things I always consider when this topic comes up and I discuss it with people is just think at the difference in our technology and where we're at from 1980 versus today, and what's going to happen moving forward. So I'm not, we're a small blip in the grand scale of time of the universe. So the fact that we haven't made contact or haven't come across any other life yet, I really don't think it really means much, because our time period that we're marking this against is so damn small.
It's massive. Yeah.
I think you hit it, Dave. I think distance is the main factor here. Why we haven't made contact with any other life out in the universe is distance. Even radio waves, they still travel at the speed of light. So you're still bound by that restriction, and if we're talking about like the known, the planet that we know is closest, the closest planet in the the Goldilocks zone is what, like 4.3 or 4.7 light years away.
Yeah.
That's still going to take almost 5 years for a signal to get there. And then now we get into, if they had the same technology, if there was life there and the same technology, then it would take, it's a 10-year round trip, basically, to get one message. But that's to say, it goes into the other thing about the advancement and evolution of technology. If there is life there, is it similar and compatible? I think this actually reminds me, and this is going to be just a sci-fi reference, is Independence Day. You know, when you're talking about, I mean, we use the laptop because we want to hack the alien thing, and we negotiate it with the alien technology, and was able to do it. You know, because plot lines. But I mean, it might not be that easy if they have a completely different technology than we do. I mean, you're talking about different places in the universe. There could be a ton more elements on the periodic table that we have no idea about. I mean, look at how our periodic table, wow, it's starting to hit me. Periodic table has changed over the years. You know, with the addition of other elements, it's there could be a ton more out there. There could be materials that we have no idea exist, and they use that. And I mean, we can just nerd out all night and talk about different movie references. You look at Black Panther, you know, and we talk about vibranium, which if say there is a vibranium out there and another planet has it, and that's their main resource. Like I think quartz is the most abundant source material on this planet. What if vibranium was the most abundant source on a different planet? You know, and that's where a species evolved. And I think, again, it comes to another thing where I think, Tim, you touched on it, where what if none of the species has evolved to be the dominant species on that planet?
Right.
You know, like how long did the dinosaurs live here? You know, and there was no dominant species. You know, you could have a apex predator, but no dominant intelligence.
Right.
You know, so there's so many factors involved, but I think the biggest hurdle is distance. You know, it's distance. It's going to take some of these places. If we send I mean, we've been sending signals out since the first broadcast, which unfortunately was the Nazis. You know, but we have been sending out radio signals ever since. So there's plenty of signals out there. And I mean, that's partly scary too, because if we're going to consider this, we are a beacon in the dark, basically saying, "Hi, here we are."
There are some scientists that have the view that maybe sending signals out is not the best thing to do.
Yeah, I was just reading that today.
They're looking to, come here for resources or wherever, and if they're that advanced that they can cruise across the universe anywhere they want to, I'm pretty sure we're not going to have much of a chance technologically standing up to them. The other thing to consider, though, is if they are that advanced and there is a civilization out there that can do all these things that we talk about, travel and go anywhere they want, they figured out some pretty advanced technology. The other thing is they may not even notice us. It's like us walking past an animal. You don't concern yourself with it. You just kind of go by and go, okay, well, until they become a nuisance, I won't annihilate them. So who knows? Maybe they just, on an intellectual level, it could be possible that they have no interest or reason to interact or try to reach out. Or they don't understand the primitive signals we're sending.
And here's an idea. If they're so much more advanced that they could do stuff like that, maybe they're viewing us as some kind of part of a research project, and they're not interfering with us. They're just watching from afar. I mean, that could be another reason.
They could be looking at us going, all those idiots want to do is fight and waste money and blow each other up, and we don't
destroy their planet.
You want to interact with that. And the other thing I read recently is maybe they've evolved to such a advanced state that they're actually just artificial intelligence. Look at the way we're going. Maybe it's just all
Yep.
mechanical, artificial intelligence. So I don't know. It could be a lot of different reasons. I do think eventually we will find some evidence of life somewhere. I mean, they're getting to the point where technology, they can start looking for pollution in Earth-like worlds far away. They can look for the signals in the atmosphere that might indicate that there's some sort of civilization and there's pollutants in the air. So that's one of the things they're starting to look for. But yeah, I think as we advance, we're probably going to find out there's other life out there somewhere. And even if we did find that it's possible and we have signals of that, are we going to be able to contact and interact? That might be a while yet.
I like the idea when we did that show. I read that we're probably the planet that everybody locks their doors when they fly by.
It's like what was that? Vacation with Chevy Chase and the
Yeah.
family when they were going through downtown St. Louis. Roll them up. They just keep going.
And I saw that post that you shared about the AI, and that
Yep.
made me think of that movie. And I don't remember the name of it, but he puts his soul or whatever you want to call it, essence inside of a machine or computer, and then the computer learns and evolves from there. So that's a possibility.
It's an interesting discussion and thought process.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm up for it. Download me. Put me in a robot.
Yep.
Thinking about what they sent with, I think Carl Sagan was part of it, but the gold plaque with the picture of us on it.
Oh, yep.
You know, if it takes so long, is it possible that it could get somewhere, be found, and then somebody comes back? I say somebody, but something come back, and we've evolved into something completely different, and they're like, "Oh, we're at the wrong place, liars."
We've been catfished by
We've
Earth.
been catfished by humans.
Could be.
And that kind of thing, I mean, we have to remember though, it's not going as fast as it needs to.
Yeah.
Like that is what, the Voyager?
Yeah.
I think
Voyager,
Voyager
that's
1.
second. No, 2. It was Voyager 2.
Okay. So let's see. Voyager 2 speed. Oh, here we go. Speed. I like how it predicts what I'm going to ask. So it's going 15 kilometers per second. So about 38,000 miles per hour, which is a little shy of the 186,000 miles per hour of speed of light. So if we're talking, even if it was going to, Proxima
Centauri.
Yeah, if it was going there, and that's the one that's 4.3, I think, light years away, it's still, I mean, you're talking 4.3 years if you're going light speed, which we're not in Star Wars yet. So it's going to take so much. I think it's going to be like, oh my God, I forget how, let's see. A light year at current.
Oh, I feel math happening.
That technology. 1 light year current technology. It takes 1 light year for light to travel, 1 year to travel 5.88 trillion miles, which is the distance you would have to travel at the speed. Okay. This is not giving me what I want.
Yeah. But that's still a good idea.
Oh, okay. So light year, that's a ratio of 1-2. All right. So 1 light year, 2 light years away would take us 43,000 years at current technology. So you're talking 86, 90,000 years just to reach the Proxima Centauri. Oh my God. Centauri. And that's the closest planet. So we're not going to.
If you think that's just in the one direction as well. Like,
yeah.
Maybe it was the wrong direction, the wrong angle, or something like that. There's so many issues it could be.
Yeah, that's a lot. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna, unless another species comes to visit us, we're not gonna have contact in our lifetimes.
I agree.
There's no way. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, but even just talking to them.
Mhm.
And we mentioned it on the last show. I think, Dave, you brought it up about anybody from these vast, distant planets that are looking at us are not seeing us. They're seeing dinosaurs,
Right.
which would be pretty cool. If they could jump through a wormhole and bring us video, 4K, 8K video of the dinosaurs, that'd be so fucking awesome. God damn.
You're onto something there. That would be kind of cool.
That
wouldn't it?
would be great.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, take a look through the telescope. Let's see what they look like. Oh, that'd be awesome.
There'd be so
now I'm
much
gonna
so
dream
wrong.
about that tonight. Like dinosaurs. Yay.
All right, we are at our 1 hour mark. So I see a couple questions left, but I just want to make sure if you guys want to take a break now. Or do you want
Yeah.
to go to the next
Yeah, we
question?
can do the
John,
break.
you're welcome to hang out as long as you wish.
Yep.
All right.
So which you want to do? You want to go break
Break.
or
Break.
break?
I gotta pay.
All right, hold on, John. Just stay there. Let's see. Break. I got it. Okay. I hope I got the right one. Ready? Go. I was worried about Kenny.
See that empty chair? It's like, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it?
It's weird. I'm so used to, like, I have a commercial for my show. I have a time where I know, like, the last commercial, when I hear that music, I know it's like, oh shit, all right, gotta go. And it's longer too now because I made it longer, and that sucks because I get used to that. I'm like, oh, I can downstairs like do. No.
So John with the missing H wants to know if you guys can repost a link to join.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that.
Oh shit.
Well, let me get caught up here just a little bit, and we'll kind of go through some stuff. Dr. Jim had something back here while we're waiting. What specific data logger gear would you suggest?
Oh,
There's a couple. Yeah. There's a couple different places. Vernier is pretty good. They have a variety of interfaces for computers and different probes and sensors for their stuff. You could start there. The onset hobo data loggers are good for temperature, humidity, light intensity. If you want to look at that, there are a couple of, and I'd have to look them up, see what the current ones are, but Black Cat Systems was good for radiation detectors. And I can't remember the EMF one. I'm not too sure that they, the one I have, they actually make anymore. So I'd have to dig into that, but pretty much any, I wouldn't say anyone, but the ones that are made for either high school or college are probably a good place to start. And that's where that Vernier data loggers come in. Those are pretty good. And it comes with the software and everything you need. The onset hobo data loggers, those go from lower end to pretty expensive. It all depends on what you're trying to data log, as far as what the recommendation would be. There is one that a lot of the ghost hunters are using these days. It's called the EDI Plus. It's not horrible. It's okay. It's a good start. You get a lot of different things you can data log for the environment. I believe it has EMF, temperature, humidity, vibration. I'd have to look and see what else is on there. But that one I took a bit of a deep dive in at one point. The only problem I think I have with that one is I thought that was a single axis EMF meter, EMF sensor. You really need to have a multi-axis one to make to get the triple axis to make sure you're getting all the readings. But those are a couple off the top of my head. Those are the ones I'd take a look at if you're looking to build a data logging system. But other people have built their own. The Mesa system is one, Geist is another. And these are people that basically built their own sensors and then also did the analog to digital conversions and did the programming to get it to data log. That was years ago. That was really popular, maybe, in the 90s, early 2000s. But with the way technology is going, it's pretty affordable. If you want to get into data logging, you can get something off the shelf by any one of those companies I mentioned, and you're pretty much good to go. And you can download your data, dump it into Excel, and off you go.
I have to say, for a follow-up, hopefully in a couple shows, don't know when, but I'd like to throw out doing a show with that information so that we can look at literally finding a location to set stuff up and keep it going for a long time. And it is really out of my wheelhouse. So it doesn't bother me to say I'm not sure what the hell I'm doing. So
I got to say, with the newer apps for the iPhone, they're actually the sensors built into the iPhone itself. They're not ghost hunting apps, but apps for, they have one, I just came across one for infrasound. It uses the dynamic mic in the iPhone to detect infrasound. So the pressure changes in the lower frequencies, the mic in there can pick it up. And, you got the, what is it? The 3-axis motion sensor on your phone. You got a vibration sensor. It's a little questionable on EMF, but the more the smartphones advance, that's actually becoming something that you could take a look at. It's probably not the same precision, accuracy that you're going to get and sensitivity that you would get on a $400 or $500 EMF meter or an infrasound detector, but it's coming along. I mean, there's some uses for them out there. So you can, and there's one, we could, Tim, as you said, we could do a show on this, but there's a couple of the apps I've been playing around with that actually log the data and graph it out, and you can export it to an Excel file and you can play around with it. So even within the cell phones, I mean, Ghost Radar, no, but some of these other apps that actually, they do use the real sensors in the phones to record and log things. Those might be worth taking a look at. I that's on my list of things to take a deep dive on and see how some of those environmental apps hold up against some of the data logging systems that I've run in the past.
I think that'll be a good show in the future because it's something I really want to try. I don't know if it'll be a big failure, but if I don't try, I'll never know. Right. So I'm going to kind of go through and get caught up, make sure I'm not leaving anybody behind here. If you were to start a 3TS museum, what paranormal piece is on your wish list? Kenny, you cannot include anything from your current museum.
Cue, Bob.
I know it's a joke, but I thought it was a pretty good joke. I once saw a room that was designated for all things proven paranormal, and you walked into the room and there was just a bunch of empty shelves. So I really enjoyed that. So I think I would have a room and just label it all things proven to be paranormal.
Proven.
Nice.
I think that's the best one there, Tim. Yours wins this conversation.
I don't know.
You got me thinking.
Do you have the question back up there, Tim?
Ooh, yeah, I unstarred it like an idiot. Hold
Okay,
on, that's
that's
my fault.
Never unstar.
I unstarred it. Here it is. I'll start it.
Okay.
If you were to start a 3TS museum, what paranormal piece is on your wish list?
Boy, probably anything that hasn't been mentioned on TV. I don't know. I really don't know because I'm not sure things can have paranormal activity attached to them. I mean,
Well, I don't know. Like, this is an open-ended question because it doesn't mean it has to be like possessed or have an attachment. It's a
Oh, I
paranormal
know.
piece. So
I posted something about that the nun's head that was supposedly possessed. That's the one I
that's
want.
good.
It's-
That's good.
Just because it's creepy as hell.
it
And it
is.
looks cool. And she was supposedly possessed and looks like a zombie. So I want that.
You know, the stuff like that is fascinating to me. Like, I love. It's almost like because I'm thinking more of like movie prop kind of idea. You know, so not necessarily a movie, but things that have come out. Like, I would love to have one of the statues that were claimed to be like a weeping statue, you know, because we did that episode, a couple episodes on that, you know,
I already
like
got
something
one.
like
It's hanging
that.
on my wall back there. I'm fine.
Yeah, like an original
That would be cool.
statue. What
How
else?
about a
What
piece
else?
of the cross that Jesus was supposedly crucified on?
You know,
Lorraine Warren has one of those.
funny you say that because I was just thinking, what
Who
if
has
you
that one?
guys,
Dead.
what if you guys could get the Ark of the Covenant that from God thing that you weren't supposed to open or your eyes would burn out?
I'd
Okay,
only open
Indiana
it in
Jones.
front of Tim.
Yeah, during one of the documentaries that I watched on the Amityville, when I was researching like the photos and stuff, it had Lorraine Warren with a cross, and she opened it up, which was kind of cool. It was a little cross that opened, but she's like, there's a piece of the cross that Jesus was crucified on. And my first thought is like, how do you know that? Like, where does that come from? How does that get certified?
Right.
You know, like what? Maybe it happened. I'm not sure. You know, but how do you do that? But yeah, I think definitely like a statue that weeped blood. I think that would be just the coolest thing. I would definitely want one of those.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there? What's like major? Maybe like a piece of alleged wreckage from Roswell.
Ooh,
But I mean,
that'd be
you could
cool.
just go out to, you
That
know,
would be fun. Yeah.
you know, like that kind of stuff where it's like, hey, this has a history of being here, or
Mm-hmm.
it came from this person. Like, I love that stuff. Like, yeah, I'm going off on a tangent here, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to stall to give you guys time to think about what you would pick. But like JD, if he's still in the chat room, he had found me a Ouija board tray, and I was recently doing research and just looking into the Ouija boards and finding advertisements from like, I think I have an advertisement from 1890,
Mm-hmm.
as far back as that. But I found a picture from 1944, Christmas Day, of two young girls with that tray playing with a planchette. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Now I have a picture to actually put with the object that I have. So it was really, really cool to see that. And I didn't realize it was that far back, but that kind of stuff. Anytime I think of haunted or paranormal stuff that I would want, I always think of the movie prop kind of sense. Like I collect, I have the People magazine where the lawyer from the Amityville case admitted that they made it all up. Like I have that 1976 issue, and I have an issue of Reader's Digest that has the New York legally haunted house stories that the owner at the time had written in, and stuff like that. That's kind of. I have the Book of Burrowville with the Conjuring house, that list all the weird deaths in the area where they pulled all the alleged things that happened in the house. So that kind of stuff, I love that kind of shit. Tim, did you say something? Did you bring up
I did. I want a room dedicated to all the things proven paranormal.
Oh, you're just going to have an empty room.
That's right.
That's it. You're going to have a closet. You're going to open up the closet. It's going to be like, there you go. Nothing.
Why don't you just go to Zach's museum?
I did.
You're not allowed anymore.
I know. That's okay. It's $50 in my pocket.
I see John without an H. Ready to come on. Looks like he's working out.
I think we're going to have 5 people.
We're going to try it if my West Virginia internet will hold out. Ready?
Oh, that's a tie for most people in this show, right?
So, guys.
He's working out.
What?
Oh, you are such a jackass. Love it.
Oh man, that's some scotch.
Well, welcome to the show.
Hey, can you guys review video on this show?
Yes, I have it queued up.
Oh, you have it queued up?
I can share. Yeah, let me share it.
Do you mind if I take this off? This is real hot.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Let's see there. Okay.
You ready?
Yep. Ooh, I like that. Look at us all on the side. So there's the video. Let's see.
All right. To be fair, I thought this was going to be something that was going to jump out and scare the shit out.
Right.
I was waiting on it.
This is the rocking chair.
So
my first thought would be like a fishing wire attached to it, and somebody you can't see off camera.
Yeah, that was my very first thought too, because the claim behind the video is that this was a person at a Methodist church who saw the video rocking and like they thought that there was a demon in their church. So
Demons like rocking chairs, huh?
apparently,
I mean, you get tired. What are you going to do?
I mean, I have some thoughts. I mean, if you guys want to go first.
I think it's exactly what they're saying. There's not a whole lot. I'm not even sure. Like, I don't know. There's nothing. The whole thing, and I think Kenny's probably drilled this in my head so much. My first question is, why did you stop there? Like, why did you not like
Right.
pick up the chair, move it around? It looks like there's more lights that could be on right above it. That would be very interesting. It'd be really cool if you would flip the chair, and I don't know. I mean, it could still be fake, but if you're really concerned, you could flip the chair and show that there's nothing attached to it. Scan the room, do a 360. I don't know. It kind of goes. It falls under that. For me, it falls under that thing where investigators don't investigate. They just look, and there's just like a whole lot left out of this video for me.
So I'll just, I don't think it's anything either.
Yeah.
I kind of go with the fishing line idea too. So in my conversation with them, so this wasn't an investigator. It was like a member of the church. They said that they were walking by, like, and I don't know what they were doing. Like, it's just, they said they were walking by. And my three questions were, A, why didn't you, I only see this small shot. B, the chair starts moving. It starts going right first when the camera stops. And they just happen to like have the video in a way that if there was like fishing wire or anything, when they get real close like, to the right of the chair, you see how it's like kind of out of frame. Like it's, I don't know,
Right.
it's just coincidental, right? Really convenient. And so, but yeah, they swear that like, I'm taking their word for it, right? They swear that there was no fishing line. It was just a member of the church walking by taking the video. And my question was like, why didn't you, like, what did you do? And they were like, I basically got spooked and left. That's why there's no more video.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was the response. My issue, and the reason I ask about your professional opinions on this, since I know you all have degrees in these kind of debunking videos.
I have to cut in. If you're trying to hide your identity again, you're failing.
Oh, wait, is that starting? Was my identity being hidden?
Only if you look
You
at
have
the
a
camera.
good filter on.
Why is that happening? I haven't touched anything. I have no idea why this is happening all of a sudden. That's really dumb.
Go ahead. Why did you bring it up?
I'll just sit real far back here. But yeah, the reason I wanted your opinion is not, I don't care so much about the person that gave me the video, because like I think they're probably a hoaxer. Go away. What is this? Stop. But like my concern is everybody, this is like in a group, and I would like to present like a solid case for everybody else that's like looking at this, wanting to know
Okay.
what's going on, if that makes sense.
So I do have some thoughts here, and you guys pointed out some things first. Let's see. Let's get right in here as soon as he gets in. So he's walking in. I mean, one thing that stands out, you don't just walk by the church doors. You just don't walk. It's not like it's on the sidewalk. I mean, I don't know, but usually any church that I've seen, you have to walk up to it. And there's a good distance from like a sidewalk to the front doors. This guy is walking in here. If there's no one here and the doors are open, I don't know if churches do that, because this isn't the church part. This is more like the administrative part, or maybe like a playroom or school or something. So I would think it would be locked. But immediately I do see the problem that there are lights that are not on. These lights here are off. This one's on, but this is closer, and you can see that it's shining down before the chair. The lights on the other side are on in the background. This creates the effect where if you're going to use not only fishing line, but thread, just simple thread. I know I had thread around here somewhere. But if you're using thread, then it's really easy to hide. So you have fishing line, and I have actual strong thread that I use. It's like a dark green fishing line, but it's not the plastic stuff. It's actually like a thread, a weave, which is perfect for it. But even fishing line, not having the lights on top cuts out reflections. So you can hide it. And I stopped it here for a reason, because you can see that there's an open door right
Oh.
there. And this is right across from where they are. So there's a doorway there. Somebody can be off camera. When it stops, let's see. When it stops, it starts coming forward. So forward would be to the left. It starts coming forward, and that's when it actually stops.
Okay.
So that would be consistent with somebody off to the right. And then when it starts again, it pulls to the right.
Yeah.
So that's another indication that it's the force is from the right side where that open door is. So if there's somebody there, yeah, that's where it's coming from. And like Tim mentioned, why didn't he pan around? Why didn't he go up to the chair? This is convenience, because if you go up to the chair, there's a better chance for you to see the line. So you want to keep distance between you and the object that's moving. And if you get closer, there's also a chance, because now if he got closer, that light that is up here would now be behind him and reflect off the line into the camera. And that would give it away. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure, again, not 100%, because we can't inspect this, but I'm pretty sure his accomplice is off on the side here in the hallway or the room that's connected to that door, and he's the one that's pulling it. And this was staged, because there's no reaction, there's nothing. I mean, it just cuts out. It stops at the end. Like, he's right there. There should be, like, did he run out of space on his phone? What happened? Why didn't he continue to record? So, yeah, I think this is a hoax.
I didn't even notice the open door. That was a good catch.
I've done this once or twice. Those are things I look for, because I mean, I have a habit of recreating these, like this is just stood out to me big time. And the fact that the light, and you can see where the light is shining down. It's it's not well before, but it's right on the edge. The edge of the light is right on the bottom rocker. But there could be a line. It's probably, the line is probably attached up here to one of the back rails. And that way it's really small. You don't have to worry about it too much. And you don't have to worry about the rocking chair actually moving. Because if it's too low, if you put it down here, there's a chance that the rocking chair would actually slide instead of rock. So you put it up top and it rocks, which would have been, it might have been cooler if it slid, but it would have been more of an indication that the person is standing off to the right. Like if this actually stopped, if it was coming back, like rocking backwards and stopped mid-motion and then started again going forward, that would be more complex and be more interesting, because then you'd have a force coming from two different directions.
Right.
But because everything's coming from the right, no. There you go. That's my thoughts. Tapping out. Good?
Can I ask a follow-up question, or is that cheating?
Fire away.
The fuck, John, without an H.
Super interested in you had like a bookmark that said patent. What the heck is that about?
Don't pay attention to it.
Patent
I don't know what that is. Hold on. Let me see. I don't know what it is. What do I have? Looking at my fucking bookmarks. You
super like.
Let me see. Oh, you know what? It's the patent for the. Oh, this is the Ouija board. It's for the planchette and the Ouija board. Yeah, it's the original patent for the Ouija board. I don't know why I have that saved, but I do.
I thought you were patenting something like real cool. You were going to tell us about it.
No, well, I have this. I have the Dybbuk box patent, which is not a Dybbuk box, but yeah, I have the patent for the original structure. But patents are really good documentation to see where things came from. So
Yep.
There you go. All right.
I just wanted to show off by working out, and I think that's all I had.
Cool.
The hat was cool. Or should I say the protective gear?
I don't like we get attacked. Like my dog is attacking me. No, no.
Oh, well, here's another question. You ready for this one? From Bob.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Coming from the sociology teacher, this is not a commentary on your show, but why do you think non-white or POC people don't seem to get involved in the paranormal? Not ghost hunting shows, but also aliens, cryptozoology, and etc.
Oh, there's Ghost Brothers.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's necessarily true.
Right. I've
There are a
actually
variety of non-white people interested in at conferences. So
Yeah,
I mean, there's
I
definitely a
don't-
majority. It's definitely a majority white people, but especially white males. I don't know. Maybe. Well, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be saying this right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try. Please take it, the way you guys should know me, but maybe black people know better. they're like, you know what? We know what happens when you go into houses like that.
Right.
Fuck that. We're not doing it.
what did Eddie Murphy say about Poltergeist? I turned the channel, it didn't work. I got the fuck out.
Yeah. Like that's it. White people do stupid shit. We're the ones like, oh, that's a demon infested house. Let's go in with flashlights.
No, but
That's what we do.
No, but seriously though, I've seen a lot of females, a lot of Hispanic, African American people at conferences. So I don't know. Maybe it's not as pronounced as you think it is, but I think there's an interest. I've seen
maybe it's just
a
not
variety of
reflect.
different ethnic backgrounds that are interested in the paranormal.
Maybe it's just not reflected in media as much as it could be.
The TV shows, as we've always said, the TV shows are the TV shows. And Kenny did mention Ghost Brothers, which was a phenomenally entertaining show. I loved it, actually.
Yeah. It
might
was
not
actually
be
really fresh.
Yeah. It might not be reflected in what you see on TV, but I think if you go to the actual conferences, yeah, there's a predominant number of white, male and female, but I've seen different ethnic backgrounds at a variety of conferences. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything that they've really. I don't think I can't recall any data where they've looked and seen what the interest is of different ethnic groups in the paranormal, but my casual observation is that there's a lot of different ethnic groups that are interested in this race and ethnicity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the stats, but I mean,
seen it.
personal observation. So take it as take it like you. I don't know. Just take it. Basically, when I go to conferences, it is dominated by white people. Maybe 98, 99%.
Mm-hmm.
So why? I don't know. I don't know. Are there any black people we can ask? Anybody watching? Because I'd like to know.
Yeah, but that was a thought I had too. We would be it would be good to hear from someone actually, and sorry, to say along with your line, my experience as well is when we were ghost hunting, the majority of our group was law enforcement, and so word would always get around if it was a local place that we were going to be at, and in the middle of the night shift was always kind of roll by and come in and try to either pull their cruiser up next to the door and blow the horn and siren really loud and scare the crap out of us, or they just want to come in, and it would be multiple different people, and they seem to enjoy it, but typically who would go would just be the three of us, but we never You know, we never not had anybody not interested nor try it. You know, anybody with any other person of color. So
I actually had a couple ex-friends that were POCs, and they were really into it and investigations and stuff. But if I still talk to them, I'd have them come on, but I don't talk to them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
I
Good
think
question, though.
that is a good question, actually. And I along the same lines, and I hope that this doesn't get too sideways, but I was really impressed when we were at Gettysburg. There were a few females that kind of piped up during the big lecture and was asking why they weren't represented equally in the shows. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought that was a really strong thing to do. So I'm glad that people that are interested to be represented on television shows stood up and asked the question straight up. And that's a whole other thing, probably not to get into, but I was impressed with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have this is my last starred one. I hope I didn't miss any other questions, but it looks like Dr. Jim was kind of following up with that for Dave.
Okay, so I'll look up the iPhone one, but there is something called the OmniMic version 2 precision measurement system, and that goes down to 5 hertz. And you can have that for the low price of $299. So that's not bad, but there are I can't remember the name. I'll have to find the paper, Jim, but there was an article published a couple years back that described how to construct your own infrasound detector using basically a subwoofer, a 12 or 15-inch subwoofer, and then you wire it into your computer and you have a spectrum analyzer and a recorder, and you could do it that way. But this OmniMic, it actually looks pretty good. It goes down to 5 hertz. It comes with the software, 200 to $300 depending on where you want to buy it from. So that's one option. And then the app for the iPhone that I was playing around with is called Redvox infrasound detector. So that's a couple ideas for recording and detecting infrasound.
This is so far out of my wheelhouse. I'm kind of hearing some Latin, then I hear some words I understand. I'm like, oh yeah, and then it's back to Latin. I'm like, I don't, whatever. And then it's like,
I just heard the teacher from Charlie Brown.
I think that teacher spoke in infrasound.
Why would
there's devices out there, and even 5 years ago I looked into it and they were not affordable, but now they seem to be fairly affordable, and they're getting into a range where you can get some, relatively low cost compared to prior equipment. I mean, $200-300 is still a lot of money, but just remember, you get what you pay for. If you're buying a bunch of K2 meters and a bunch of other crap, if you want an infrasound detector, you're gonna have to put out some decent money. It's not cheap to get quality equipment that will do what you want it to do and get quality data for it. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. Good news is there's some grants available. Every once in a while, there's some paranormal parapsychology grants. You can write a grant if you got a good idea. Try to write it up and get some funding for it.
Why would infrasound detection be important on a paranormal investigation?
Ooh,
it would be fairly important because Vic Tandy, way back in the day, there was a couple articles that there was some strange activity happening at a lab, and they were seeing shadows in the peripheral vision, and they decided to measure the infrasound, and the infrasound that they detected, I believe, was 18, 19, 20 hertz. They did detect that signal, and they concluded that it could potentially be vibrating your eyeball. The other thing infrasound can do is you can't hear it, but your body can feel it. You can still detect it, and it can give you a sense of unease. There's certain soundtracks and certain movies where they put infrasound in there to generate a level of unease, and there's been a variety of experiments where people pump infrasound into a concert hall, and they've shown that people get this general sense of not feeling well or unease, and it could be attributed to the environment and people thinking that they're having a paranormal experience. One of the other things is to think about is if you look at the equations for looking at resonant frequencies and infrasound, there's a way you can use the length and the width of the room and figure out if there's going to be an infrasound frequency there. And some of these old places and other newer places that people seem to have strange feelings, they're showing that, at least based on the formula and the calculations, that infrasound could be present there. And there's obviously a level of discomfort and other side effects that infrasound can cause with people. So it's something natural in the environment that you'd probably want to take a look at and rule out if you're investigating a location.
So, quick side question: wasn't this wasn't there some like crowd control weapons? I hate to use the word. Non-lethal weapons.
Yeah, using a sound wave is at a certain hertz. I can't remember what it is, and they can focus it at a crowd, and it'll hurt so bad physically that they can double over, start having tinnitus. I mean, all kind. It's to the point where if they ramped it up enough, they could probably kill somebody.
I think that was ultrasonic weapons. So that's
okay.
The other direction.
Sorry. You're right.
Yeah, it wasn't infrasound; it was ultrasound.
Right.
Still cool.
Right.
Still,
I think
like
it's
a
actually
ray gun.
covered. Tim brought it up a while ago, but it's an article called "Things That Go Bump in the Literature," and they talk about all these different environmental factors that could supposedly be involved in hauntings and paranormal activity, and infrasound is one of the ones that they mentioned.
Big question. Whew. Can you guys come up with a legitimate idea of what ghosts and haunts actually are?
A legitimate idea of what ghosts and haunts actually are.
Well, okay, so if I could, let me take this real quick.
Sure.
Sure, you're part of the crew now.
Yeah, we're the 5 tortured souls. That's right.
The best thing that I can think of, if I were to have that belief in ghosts and whatnot, would be to say it's a timestamp in that part of time, and time is funny, so maybe it's just going forwards, and we're seeing that timestamp at a certain place. It's not necessarily a ghost, if you will. It's a timestamp of the essence of the body.
The problem with that, though, is that you have to think like we're not in one place. Like we're moving thousands of miles per hour through space.
Right.
So timestamp's affected by gravity in some way.
But okay, so it's in a different. It's not in a materialistic part of time, if you will. It's on the outside, so it could go forward and backwards on the timeline, and we're just catching it at certain times during our timeline.
Right, but my question is, so if it's on the timeline, we are not, like, just like a split second ago, you were 1,000, 10,000, however many miles in a different place in space, right? Because we're flying through space on the Earth, circling around the sun. The sun's moving, our galaxy's moving, the universe is moving, it's expanding. So if we go forward in time, we're in a totally different place. And same thing with backwards. So how does that work in relation to like space-time, where we are physically?
I'm kind of going with my theory my pet theory I love is the many worlds theory. So in that theory, everything's already been infinitely choices are going to be made, and it's going to be all different, but it's all connected to one single timeline, which is your personal consciousness. So everything that could happen does happen, and we just seem to be in this one right now.
we're totally figure of the show, and I love this. So the problem with many worlds theory, I'm not a quantum physicist, and a bunch of smarter people than I who buy into it. But the two problems that I see with that theory are, one, the conservation of energy and mass is a huge issue with many worlds interpretation. But two, the if you actually like dig into the math of many worlds, the many worlds that are created in many realities, they literally cannot physically interact with each other. Like it's mathematically impossible. And so when people use many worlds theory and quantum physics in general to explain ghosts, it doesn't quite fit the math of our understanding of like quantum physics, especially in many worlds theory.
So you're referring to like when people claim that dimensions interact and slightly touch, and that way we're seeing ghosts or beings, people from a different dimension.
Right.
The math doesn't work out.
Specifically for many worlds interpretation of
interesting.
There could be other theories, interpretations where the math may be different, but like I forget the guy who came up with many worlds theory, but like the guy that came up with it specifically said like it's mathematically impossible for the dimensions to interact with each other once they've split.
Right, absolutely. So it's not something that can be technically proven because we'll never meet. So, but okay, so with quantum mechanics though, we can have a certain atom jump from one time and place to another time and place. Oh, okay. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
It's hard. Yeah. So like I understand like in space where people think that there's total nothingness, there's never total nothingness.
Right.
So I don't think. I one of the most coolest things, and again, like John without an H, like I'm not a quantum physicist, but me and Kenny have tried to take quantum physics as a class before, failed miserably. But the idea and the I don't want to say theory, but the concepts of quantum physics are fun to read until you get into the math, and then it's just like bullshit. I can't read this. But one of the coolest things I always loved was quantum tunneling, which is actually like one of the ways that shit's made on the sun. So that that's really cool. And that's kind of something that, like I hear, like you were saying about stuff popping into nowhere. And it's, what happens like at a very minor, very minuscule, it's hard to scale up. But the idea that you can throw a tennis ball at a wall and there's like this billionth of a chance that the tennis ball is going to go through the wall is kind of mind-numbing when you think about it.
Shit.
Yeah. And then when you're like bullshit and they're like, well, here's the math, prove me wrong, I'm like, I can't.
Quantum tunneling is that happens with individual particles will tunnel through things. So like for a tennis ball to happen, it would have to, all those individual particles would have to tunnel at the exact same time for some weird reason. Like is it possible? Absolutely. Is it, the chances of it happening are infinitesimal.
So one of the things I read with that, again, like quantum tunneling is just fascinating to me. But one of the things I read about that was like probability. And here's something that'll keep you up tonight. At least it does me. There is a probability that when you open the door to your dryer, that your clothes will be folded. It's just true. It probably will never happen, but you have a probability that your clothes will fold while they're in the dryer, which is just, I don't know why that shit keeps me up at night, but welcome to my mind. I don't know. It's all probability. I guess back to the question though, for me, a ghost, my definition of a ghost right now is just a placeholder for something that we can't explain. And I think some people like to go and explain difficult to understand situations with it's a ghost. I kind of think as we move forward with technology and information, we see a lot of the supernatural explanations being whittled down. what would I let me make sure I'm reading the question correctly? Because what they actually are, that's a tough question. I'm going to say I don't know if this is fair, but I'm going to say that they are misunderstood events. Not saying that they don't happen, but our interpretation of what's happening at the time is probably incorrect. I can't say incorrect, but it's just what we do to make sense of our area. And if we are in a place that we think is haunted and we have something that fits with what we believe is a haunting event, then we will probably come to the conclusion that we experienced a ghost or a haunt.
I think it depends. There's a lot of potential possibilities. It could be in the environment. It could be the contextual cues of what's going on. It could be the architecture. It could be whatever is going on in your mind at the time. You could be primed. You could be expecting things. I think it's a complex interaction of people, environment, and context, and what is actually leading to those experiences. We just don't know. I mean, it depends on what camp you're in and how you interpret the data. Some people believe it's nothing more than ambiguous stimuli that people are interpreting as paranormal. But there's other people that say that there might be an actual paranormal event or some sort of survival of consciousness. And I think part of the question is what specifically are you asking about? I mean, are you asking about what people are presenting as evidence these days, or are you asking about, near-death experiences? Are you asking about crisis apparitions? Are you asking about deathbed visions? These are all different things. So depending on what specific phenomena and topic you're talking about is going to have an impact on what you think is going on here. But as far as ghosts and hauntings, I think it's just a very complex interaction between people in the environment and what's going on there. And if there is some sort of survival beyond bodily death, that's part of what they're trying to figure out. Is there really something going on there? It could even be something very simple where, some of the initial work by Persinger showed that within certain electromagnetic fields that are generated in the environment, that you can record and play back the release of photons on a chemical reaction. So it could be nothing more than there's something interesting going on in the environment that records something light-based that gets played back under the right conditions. So I don't think it's a simple answer. I think there's a lot of complexity to it, and we're pretty far from understanding what that is. But as far as what people say is a ghost or a haunting, it's the set of these ambiguous, anomalous experiences that people are reporting. And I really think it's a lot different than what you see on TV, and what popular ghost hunting groups are reporting is a hell of a lot different than what the original founders of like the Society of Psychical Research went back and started studying, like the crisis apparitions and the deathbed visions, where there's certain things about that might indicate a potential for some sort of human consciousness surviving bodily death. But I don't think it's a simple answer. It's pretty damn complex, and there's a lot of different factors that are involved there.
You're muted, Kenny, if you're trying.
Sorry. What did I say? No.
Amateur moves.
I agree. I think it's complex because I view these two terms, ghost and haunt, as blanket terms. They're not specific. They are a wide blanket. When you say a ghost, what does that mean? Like so many people have different definitions and versions and types of what they consider a ghost. So it's a wide blanket. Same with a haunt. Haunted, haunting. A place is haunted. What does that mean? Like there's so many different versions and definitions you can give that these are blanket terms. and they have to be narrowed down to specifics of what we're talking about. So to come up with an idea of what a legitimate ghost or haunt is, I don't think you can. It's just it's not specific enough. It's too wide of a blanket. I don't know where to go from there.
It's a big question.
I think some of it's environmental, some of it's psychological, and there might actually be a paranormal aspect of it. A paranormal meaning that maybe there is something that survives after you die. But I often wonder, if it does survive, how long does it survive? I mean, it's got to be a cohesive consciousness, but
And
who knows? It might only survive for a short period of time. But
Yeah,
I
like what
think there's
keeps
all
it
kinds of
together?
different things going on here.
Yeah.
Well, my question would be: would it still be us as a part of reality? So all of our memories and everything are stored in our physical brains. So once that dies, does it take those memories as well, or does it become something completely different?
I think that is a topic for a show by itself.
Yeah, that was great. So
That's not.
this is a big
We can't get in because I'm already like, I can see the hamsters all starting to run. All of us here. So
hold
I think
on, John.
Write it down.
This is good. I'm looking at all the topics I get to choose.
Tim calls dibs because
Tim's got that one.
He calls dibs on everything.
That's right.
Write it down.
Yeah,
All right.
and
But we have one for everybody here. Speaking non-paranormal question. Speaking of sound, for all 5 of you, would you be interested in sitting in the echo-free chamber at Orfield Labs in Minnesota?
Yes.
I'm not sure I know what that is. So
That is
the
the soundproof room that is it's
Isolation
complete
chamber.
dead silence.
Yep.
is that the one that people they say you can't sit in for more than so many minutes because it
Yeah,
drives
because you start hallucinating and you feel out of body and.
There you go, Tim.
But yeah, sensory deprivation is a long history in parapsychological research. And the idea is that if you filter out the noise of the normal environment and things that you're exposed to, that you might be able to pick up on those low level signals that you normally wouldn't be able to get. So that's one idea. But yeah, I mean, I'd be all for it. We obviously know, though, that when humans are sensory deprived and isolated, they have a lot of strange things happen, and your mind plays a lot of tricks on you. So yeah, I'd be interested in trying it just to see what my mind comes up with.
I would do it. I don't know why I would do it, but I would do it.
I got
for it.
pictures up, Tim.
Bring me
What's
to
that?
I got pictures up.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was writing down the
Sorry.
idea.
There you go.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, I think that actually there's a Cal Cooper in the UK. He's actually done sensory deprivation studies, I believe, in where they put you in a tank of water and they close it up, and your eyes are blocked, and obviously you're hearing nothing but the water that you're laying in. It's completely silent, and they're looking at that as potentially a parapsychology or ESP conducive state. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting work going on in that area.
I'd like to try it just because I've seen it. I've seen it on TV. I've seen people go in there. I've seen videos where people go in there and have issues after like 15 minutes or so. I would love to I'd love to try it.
Yep.
I think it'd be fun.
I saw there's a science-based YouTuber called Veritasium. He went into it.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like I would totally do it. For sure. Seems cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that was the same guy that I love the show. Great channel. He actually went into, I don't think it was that chamber, but they did one where there were no shadows, it wasn't, I guess, that deprivation other than just time contextual. Oh shit, cues. Where he went in for several days and he had enough water, enough food. The lighting stayed exactly the same at all time, and the sound was the same. And he could only trust his own biological clock, and there was no contact with outside the room, and he videoed and documented his experience while he was in there. It was really good. He was losing his shit there for a while.
Is that Vsauce that you're referring to?
Yes, Vsauce. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one. I love that show or that channel.
Great channel. Yep.
All right.
Last
I
question.
know.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think it's the last question.
Awesome.
Yes. I already know where this is going to go. What do you think about?
Show by itself.
Yes, it really is.
So Neil deGrasse Tyson no longer believes we live in a simulation, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
So just to get that out.
Yeah.
Don't start fights, John, without me.
My comment on this question and Neil's statement is that is a very scientific way to answer a question. He has not seen enough proof that we don't live in a simulation.
Right.
So he hasn't seen proof that we do, and he hasn't seen proof that we don't. So basically what he's saying is, I don't know either way. There's not data to support it either way. So I don't
That's
know.
exactly when I said, yeah, that's where I was saying I know where this is going to go by the way it's worded.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, I think he's open to it as long as there's data to support it. And, it's becoming a pretty popular, and they say theory, it's a hypothesis right now, really, because there's nothing to back it up. But, there's a lot of people that say that there's indications that it potentially could be. Why not? I think once my personal view is once we figure out it is a simulation, the whole damn thing's going to collapse and it's going to cancel out. So
Yep.
don't think
When we
about it too
wake
hard
up-
or we're done.
We wake up in that tub of goo and the robots fly up and unhook us and we get flushed down the toilet.
Take the red or the blue pill and wake up and see what happens.
Right. But I did like his description when Tyson got into it and he talked about it and how like virtual reality and when we go into simulations, you think about it, think about virtual reality. Like I would say like one of the first examples of a kind of virtual reality was Doom, the video game Doom, and how shitty that was. But we were walking around an environment like that with a first person viewpoint, and now, we have things like the Oculus that put us in that environment. There's a place in New York. One of them's in New York where you put on a whole virtual headset and gear and you go through. Yeah. And it's in an environment. And I'm dying to go up there because they have a Ghostbusters theme. But you go through it and the environment, even though it's plain, the physical environment is plain. Boxes, walls, plain walls. But it's matched up to the virtual environment that you see through your visor. So you can actually hide behind real physical things and interact with physical things. As it progresses, and that's one of the points that he brought up, as it progresses, and becomes more and more like high def and realistic, is there a point that it transcends to where maybe we are? How do we know? And we go into the Matrix kind of thing where if we can plug a USB, I don't know, like 17.0 into the back of our heads, what is perception? What is perception? It's the signals interpreted by our brain. So if we tap right directly into the brain, why? Who says we can't?
Well, I would say doing a VR. At first, I love to game. I've gamed for so long. I'm a computer gamer. That one of my friends had an Oculus and he introduced it to me. And I was kind of like, this is going to be okay. This is going to be fine. This is not going to be so great. And a few minutes, I'd say probably 5 minutes into playing a game, I was sitting at a desk playing in the VR world. I was sitting at a desk and he was helping me navigate my very first time, and he was watching on his phone, and something happened. I think we were at the escape room working, and he was like, wait a minute, somebody came in. So I stopped playing. And while I was sitting there sitting at this desk, I kind of got tired of sitting, so I literally tried to put my elbows on the fucking desk, fell forward. And I was like, okay, you sold me. I'm getting an Oculus. So it told me I didn't necessarily cognitively on a higher than conscious level believe that I was in this world, but something inside my brain had already came comfortable with going, okay, this is where we're at. This is what I see. This is the inputs that I get. So we are here where we are. And on a motor skill level, I put my elbows out to rest on the table and went face forward. So it sure was good enough to, at this point, convince something in my brain that I was where I thought I was, even though I knew that I wasn't. And I found that that was interesting enough for me to buy one and explore the rest of it.
Very cool.
I'm into. So there is a recently released paper by David Kipping and collaborators on July 23rd, and they have developed a mathematical model that proves, according to them, it's still being peer reviewed, that statistically we are not in a simulation until. So we are statistically not in a simulation according to their Bayesian mathematical model. However, if we ever create a simulation ourselves, then statistically that flips, and we're almost certain to be in a simulation.
Does that mean we're in a simulation that creates a simulation that we get into?
Correct.
In the simulation.
That's what I was just thinking, Kenny. Like it would be just back and forth, and we're doing it right now. We're all here on video recording our thoughts. So I was just thinking that just for funsies.
Oh, stop fucking with my head, John. With an H.
So let's think that computer AI takes over. Where are they getting their information from? From what we're putting out right now. So if that does ever happen, we'll be around for millions of years, just not like this.
Yep. Interesting.
All right.
So Bob, John, you can answer, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that he is off the fence of believing we are in a simulation. Is that correct?
Yeah, what? And sorry, maybe I'm getting tired too. NGD, remind me what we were talking about? I've already
Neil
forgotten.
deGrasse Tyson, when
That guy. Yeah, so he's clarified that, and I think this is what Neil deGrasse Tyson was referring to, was this study. But I saw like him in a conversation. I can find the video, but he clarified that he looked at the study and it convinced him that we are like absolutely not in a simulation according to its mathematical model. So like he's totally against it now.
I think it'd be interesting when it gets more peer reviewed and we get more evidence and get things streamlined to where we can understand it, because it is a hard concept to grasp.
All right. So I see no more. Let me check my
Good.
My stars. My stars are cleared. So I didn't miss any. Whoops. That was good. I like that. I'm going to star that so I can get back to it, because I want to go look at that paper. That sounded really good. All right. So, wow. So hour number 3. I don't know how I don't have to pee again, but now that I thought about it,
You do.
You know what? If we were in a simulation, why would we have to pee?
Because it's part
of the code, man.
It's part of the code.
Your bladder code is very short.
Yeah. Oh, where can I find Tim Saturday nights? Here, buddy. All right. So I appreciate John with the H and John without an H coming on. I'm going to go ahead and remove you guys, and I appreciate it. I really do. I'm so glad you jumped on, John with an H. It's nice seeing you, John without an H. And let's see. Oh, somebody's doing it. Dave's messing with me. There we go.
There we are.
There we are. Well, that was fun. That was a fun show.
That was good. Yeah,
I absolutely. I was so happy people came on and talked. That was good. I enjoyed that. There was a couple good show ideas that came out of that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I hope later I can read my writing because I'm really deep into a lot of alcohol in that coffee. So, all right. So you guys, how about Dave? Do you got anything coming up anytime soon?
Nope. Saturday nights, right back here with you two.
Kenny?
I'm gonna keep it short this time. Saturday nights, I'll be here with you guys. Friday nights, I do my own show, 8 p.m. same time. I've matched them up so that there's no confusion anymore. But yeah, Skeptical Help Bar, Friday nights, 8 p.m. Come on. That's it. I'm not doing any more events until I know how the whole COVID numbers and everything are. So I'm not scheduling anything. So
True. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining and making it to. I think this is my first hour 3 show. I don't know. I think
I think we've just broken through.
Yeah,
but only a couple minutes.
You're rubbing your eyes. I don't think I've ever had one.
That was some heavy ass discussion.
That was good. My brain hurts. I gotta go watch like Monty Python or something.
Great show.
Balance
All right.
out.
Well, we'll see you next week. Who's up next?
I think I am.
All right, Dave's
Cool.
got the reins. So
Yay.
we'll see you next week. Same 3TS channel, same 3TS
3TS
time. Shit, I don't know. I give up. I
Same
tap out.
3TS channel, same 3TS time.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Have a good night.
one. Take care.
Well, bye.
Don't for chance, don't for chance, don't for chance, game is the real, best of the day, game is the real, Bigfoot is real, don't question me, Dave is the goat, Dave is the goat, those everyone, I'm on TV, don't for chance, don't for chance, don't for chance, don't for chance. Careful what you say or you'll get in bed.